Hi, and welcome to this week's energy forecast for September the 4th through to September the 10th. I'm Rachael Thompson Phillips, and I am the creator of BU Oracle cards, online courses, and I also teach and mentor business owners within the spiritual and wellness industry. This is a really new beginning of a new week, obviously, being Monday. This week is really about embracing who you are at a very, very core level. It's the cards that have come out for this week are incredibly exciting. So I'll give you a little bit of an insight into this week's energy cards, and then we'll go through them individually, okay? So the very first card for the week is the Warrior Queen, and that's from Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday through to Friday is the world, and Saturday and Sunday is about change. So as you can see, there is a lot of, you've heard me speak over the coming weeks about all of the internal changes that are going on within us. And we really have been through an incredibly stripping away of layers and getting really close to our core values and understanding who we are at a core level and listening to our intuition and following the guidance and removing away limitations and working through and busting through old beliefs and old concepts that we've had sitting in our mind. For some people, they've also had the removal of certain people in their world. So there is a very, very huge, big shift that's occurred this year where we are not so much just letting go, but we are learning to surrender, and we're also learning to bring to a whole new level of acceptance of self. And that is in itself so incredibly refreshing. We're also going on this amazing journey of learning to understand who we are. And that is, to me, and this is only just my belief, okay? I believe that one of the greatest journeys that we have here is to understand who we are at a core level. And that means letting go of idealisms of society input. It's letting go of family expectations, letting go of old ideas of the person that you used to be, learning to grow and develop into the person that you are and finding that acceptance, understanding that all of the experiences in your world has led you to be this most beautiful person that you are. And that through that, you've been able to gain a whole new level of understanding around the journey that you have been on. And that in itself is incredibly transformative because it allows us to bring in a whole new level of healing, and it allows us to bring in a whole new perspective on what your journey has been in your life right to this moment. And I feel like as humans, we are always seeking answers. We are almost robotic in our way in knowing that we are here to seek what our truth is, and for each individual person that's going to be so very, very different, and the journey and how we get to seek those answers will also be very different for each individual person. And this is where it's that time of being able to come in and honor, and I say that word with so much grace and with so much heartfelt energy behind that, because it is about having the grace of learning to understand who you are and to honor that. Because you know what, every single person in this world has not got through life unscathed. We all have scars. We all have stories. We have all had a multitude of excuses to justify why we haven't done certain things. Now we are starting to come to a level of peace, acceptance, and to validate, excuse me, we are learning to validate the choices that we've made up to this very moment. We are starting to become more empowered by the people that we are, because we have learned to negate through the stories that have not propelled us forward, and we have learned to decipher the ones and be able to take through those amazing qualities and traits that we have learned through stories that haven't been so great in our world. And we have learned to be able to turn them around and flip them over and say, what is something amazing that I can take from that experience that is going to bring a holism back to that shitty old story that we have once given ourselves. This coming week, with the very first card being the Warrior Queen, really signifies that journey that you've been on, that all of those internal changes, that that quiet voice, as you hear me say, intuition comes through in this beautiful quiet voice, unless, of course, it needs to bring through something that is incredibly alarming. Only then will it be very, very loud in your head. But on a day-to-day, intuition comes through on this really soft, gentle voice. The warrior queen is about having the tenacity to know that the journey that you are going on has been designed with you in mind, and no other person is going to be able to ever be able to truly understand the journey you've been on, because it is only for you. And as I've always said, we can always try to bring through a level of understanding when someone talks to us about something that they've gone through. But unless we have lived that ourselves, we truly do not really understand what that person could be experiencing. We can only assume. So this is about bringing through this whole new belief to be yourself, and to know that the journey of going on, learning to understand who you are, grow into that beautiful, magnificent person that you are right at this moment, takes incredible courage, because it means removing some of the shit that we've put in our head. It's about knowing that we don't need to be able to justify why we're doing certain things, because we don't need the approval of outside influences. And we sometimes don't even need to be able to share where we're going right at this very point, because you yourself are just unraveling that and discovering that for yourself. And at any given moment, you can interject and change very, very quickly. But you know that there is this internal strength that's going on within you. When I designed this card, it was about, to me, it's about that being the chief of your own journey. Like an Indian, they listened and saw all of the signs and symbols that was going on around them, through their environment, through the people, through their listening to what is going on within their own selves. Being able to notice that if something is not in alignment, that they will start to feel and become aware of that within their own selves, and how to be able to go in and amend those imbalances and bring ourselves back to a place of an alignment with our own soul truth. And for that, it takes a great deal of patience and practice and persistence to keep going along a journey that you may not always have the full picture of understanding how you're going to get from point A to point B. Yet you know that within yourself, there is an absolute truth in which you must follow right at this point. And knowing that if you honor who you are and the things that make you truly light up and that are really important to you, then you will always live a journey that is being you. And I feel like that is one of our greatest gifts of this earth, is to understand who we each are. For once we understand who we are, it allows us to make better decisions, because then we go, I understand how I work in this situation, and so therefore I believe that this is the right choice that I can make for myself. I can understand, we can use that level of knowledge around understanding who you are in so many different areas. You can become aware of what are some of your not so awesome traits, where you may be going into self-sabotage yourself, and bring a conscious awareness to that and go, hey, I know that there's a resistance building as I go along this journey, because I have a little bit of apprehension, because I don't know what the next step is. So I understand that on a certain level, there could be a potential for me to bring in self-sabotage, because I want certainty. And so therefore, if you become aware of what your self-sabotage behaviors are, then you can immediately bring into change and go about and sit within yourself and know that you're searching for a level of certainty, and therefore be able to go in and sit with yourself and see that maybe some of the actions and behavior that you're acting out are only just coming back to a little bit of fear and doubt, and bringing that truth and honesty to that is incredibly refreshing. Because what the mind likes to do when we have fear or doubt is we like to dance around it. We try to pretend that we don't know that it's there. We will come up with an excuse as why you're doing this certain action and behavior. Yet you know that within the truth that's important to you is that you know that you're dancing around the fear. So as you've heard me say, if we go to the core of what the issue is, we can resolve the situation right there. So if you see yourself dancing around any self-sabotage behaviors, that can come out through addictions, that can come out, and that's not just in addictions in food, in alcohol and tobacco. It can play out in emotions, as in some of the things that we can do is that we emotionally beat ourselves up. We spend a lot of time complaining. We remove ourselves and isolate ourselves from people. We can get into places of depression. And these are all areas where we can see that we are playing with self-sabotage because there's a little bit of fear. So if we understand that some of these situations come up, and if we have the wisdom to be able to go, hey, I recognize this, and this is not the way that I want my journey to go, then we can go in and create empowering changes in our world that is going to bring us back into an alignment where you can go, you know what, I don't understand where my next step is. But because of that, I'm going to really give myself permission to really enjoy this moment and honor that this is how I am truly feeling, and what are some empowering things that I can do right now to be able to give permission to give voice to these doubts rather than suppress them and pretend like they don't exist. So you could do really powerful things like exercise is a really great way because it helps shift that stuck energy or that fear-based thoughts. We can remove that from our physical structure. We can journal, we can dance. Music is an amazing way in which to be able to move through and bust through down at a soul level and at a cell level and break through that energy that's sitting in within our cellular structure. So just bring into awareness as to what are some of the things that you can do to counteract that fear and self-doubt, and know that you have all of this courage sitting in within you, and to really give space to be able to bring that truth to yourself and say, I would really like for people this week to come up with an incredibly powerful affirmation that is honoring the courageousness within themselves to take the next step, because it can be incredibly daunting. So it could be, something as simple as I honor the courageous aspect within my own self. Something that every time you hear yourself say it is really giving yourself permission to recognize these amazing traits that are coming through to the forefront and are really bringing forward to the surface at this point, and to know that the next step is only just around the corner, and then there's another step, and there's another step, and then there's another step. And we don't need to know what every single step is. All we need to do is follow our own truth for our own self, and know that that is a discovery each and every step of the way. Because what we can do is that we can go in our mind, we can go, well, I really want to explore this area of myself because I think if I do this, this is going to make things better. And then you do that and you find that all of that time you've thought about it, when you actually put it into action, it's really not quite as awesome as what you thought it is. So therefore you need to come back and readjust. And this is where discovery is about having that objectiveness, not to judge self, but to be able to go on an exploration to see what this next step for you means, and how you can bring those very, very cool aspects within self that are courageous, that are strength, that are determination, and that is motivation, and is inspiring, and is heartfelt, and is truthful, and it is honest. And that is the journey that we are going on, is going within to find our own truth of what is important for us, so that our soul has this new breathing space. To me, I almost feel like as if the rib cage is opening to allow this new space within our soul to really expand and grow, because that is the journey that we've already been on. We have gone through so much growth over the last couple of months, and it can be exhausting. There's no lying about that. As we go through and remove things and bring new things into our worlds, it can be exhausting. So be okay with that. Remember to have that fun and that playfulness, and to just enjoy where you're at this moment. And therefore that's going to bring through on Wednesday and through till Friday is the world, is knowing that success is just around the corner. When you can bring through that level of honesty and being able to be you, that is the world. It will incredibly change your world. It's going to change the perception that you have around yourself. The moment that perception that changes around yourself and you actually really start to feel that empowerment within you, is going to then let you know that nothing can get in your way except for your own self. So this is giving us an indication that we're getting out of our own way, and then we're on charge moving forward, where we have the confidence and the clarity and know the direction that we are going in to be able to achieve all the success that we ever set our mind to. Now, you would have heard me say that this year is about making sure that we live our dreams. So every time the world card comes out, it really is giving you the indication that you're getting so close. So to just keep going, believing in yourself. And I tell you, that is the only difference between you achieving something and not, is the belief that you have within yourself. Now, belief doesn't mean that it removes doubt. No, it doesn't. It means that doubt can be a part of believing in yourself, because what doubt does is it brings you to this part and it reveals to you your strength, because there's a part of you within your own self. When you feel doubt or feel fear, you go, you know what? F you. I believe in myself. And I am going to go on this journey. And if you fear and doubt want to come with me, jump on board. But this is the direction that you're going in. And it's coming with so much conviction, because you are actually learning to believe in yourself, and then you become unstoppable. Nothing gets in your way. Yes, that doesn't mean that obstacles and challenges do not present themselves. Of course, then that's a really false sense of security. Of course, they're going to come. But with that belief and with that conviction and clarity and the direction that you're going in, you have the ability to be able to assess the situation, work through those obstacles and challenges that may present themselves, and continue along your journey, knowing that each one of those little moments where you need to stop and reassess and make changes is again offering you new insight into being able to reveal all of these amazing skills and talents that we have within ourselves that we don't use on a day-to-day basis. So remember, this is the week around believing in who you are and having that clarity and conviction, because you know within yourself that you're being true to you. Through that, on the weekend is Saturday and Sunday's energy is about change, and this is about revealing and removing that mask from ourselves, knowing that changes are occurring on a cellular level. When we make that commitment to honor ourselves, believe in ourselves, go along the journey of what really is important with ourselves, and seeing that it's almost like the parting of the sea. You know, once you have that clarity and conviction, you start to see that things fall away that no longer serve us anymore. And then that gives space for new, beautiful things to invite into your world. And that gives us confirmation, and that gives us the confidence to keep on going, because we are starting to bring more awareness to what our truth is. So we start to see it more. We start to feel it more. So you may find that there will be moments over this week that, as there becomes this beautiful realization around believing in yourself and seeing the confirmation being revealed to you, you may find that there may be moments where you get a little bit teary, but know that those tears are not through sadness. They are tears of joy, because you are actually being so truthful with your own self, that in itself is so incredibly refreshing. And the tears are more around cleansing. It's cleansing yourself and letting you know that we can have the balance between being really strong and having this conviction and clarity in ourselves, but we can have this real beautiful softness that also comes too. And we need to have both in order to balance out the scale. So those tears are about cleansing our soul and dusting away the cobwebs of the crap we've put in there, and really moving into a space where that realism of knowing your truth becomes so important for you that it does bring up these tears, and know that they are also offering strength through releasing them. And this coming through this emergence of removing that mask is also the validation of all of the limitations that you're working through, breaking through that shitty old thought process that you may have had before. Because to come to a point where you believe in yourself, you have to have done the work beforehand. And that is the most beautiful gift that you're going to give to yourself, is a week of exploration, of going within to sit quietly with yourself and just become aware of you in all of your entirety without any judgment. And that is going to be the greatest gift that you give to yourself this week. So I wish everyone an incredibly wicked week. Remember, keep up the amazing work that you're doing. Be you is the gift of what you're here to discover. And know that you're going to discover some amazing things about yourself. You're also going to discover some not so amazing elements about yourself, but they make up who you are. Your soul knows that you're beautiful. The people in your world who really matter, they know that you're beautiful. Your family, your friends, the people that you work with all know that you're beautiful. Now it's time for you to be able to see, hear, and feel and know that and believe in that. Because the moment that you do, nothing will ever get in your way ever again. So be kind, be good, and remember, take care of you. Much love to you all.